Chapter 1. The Orange. A gentle breeze carried the delicate fragrance of 10,000 newly bloomed orange blossoms across the balmy summer air. It was far too early in the season for the trees to be bearing fruit, but the intoxicating scent of the blossoms floating through the grove was more than enough to satisfy Orville Mouse. Besides, strolling alongside Orville beneath a gloriously radiant summer sun was his best friend in the world, Sophia Mouse, and that alone made him supremely happy. Sophia had moved to Murradan Falls only 1 year ago, dropping like a bossy know-it-all gift from above into Orville's life. He was drawn to her immediately, even though at first blush it would seem the two mice had little or nothing in common. "Isn't this an amazing place, Sophia? I could sit under this lovely orange tree for 100 years.
I wish there were oranges on the trees. The blossoms smell nice, but I'm hungry, and we only get oranges in Murradan Falls in the summertime when the train can get through the mountain pass."
That's quite true, of course, but doesn't this seem like an exquisitely magical world to you? You know, enchanting and the like.
And the like? Are you trying to sound smart? I guess it's kind of enchanting. Hey, look at that monster tree over there. That is huge, and it has bright blue leaves. I've never seen a tree that big, not even back on Quintari, and they have some colossal trees there.
Sophia was always comparing Murradan Falls to her former home on the planet Quintari. Most of the time Orville didn't mind, but he liked Murradan Falls just as it was, and sometimes the things Sophia said bothered him just a little bit. Of course he never said anything to her because Sophia was his best friend in the world, and the very last thing he wanted to do was hurt her feelings. Besides, when he thought about it, there was nothing wrong with being proud of where you came from. Creakers, I never noticed that tree before. Look at the size of it. It has to be at least 1,000 feet tall and 500 feet wide. Look at all the glowbirds chirping and tweeting. There must be 100 of them just on that one branch. Orville and Sophia made their way out of the picturesque orange grove and over to the enormous tree. What kind of tree do you think it is?
I don't know. I don't recognize the leaves. It doesn't look like anything I'm familiar with on Earth or on Quintari. The leaves are sky blue and form perfect circles. I've never seen a tree like this before, and I know a lot about trees.
Sophia plucked one of the leaves from the tree and examined it, then held it out for Orville to inspect. She gazed at Orville for a moment, then grinned and said,
"Hey, I bet you can't do this."
There was a blink of light, and a fat, juicy orange appeared in her paw. "Creakers, how did you do that? You made an orange pop out of nowhere. That's incredible." Sophia laughed and gave him the orange.
"It's just a little gift from the universe for my best friend in the world."
"Thanks. We can share it. It looks delicious." "Really, though, how did you do that?" Orville glanced up at Sophia. He could see her mouth moving, but instead of hearing her answer, he was hearing a loud, irritating, rattling noise. "What is that noise? Do you hear it? It's driving me crazy." And then, in less than a blink, Orville Mouse was back in his bed, listening to his window rattle wildly in the roaring north wind that screamed down from the towering snow-covered peaks surrounding Murradan Falls. Chapter 2. Sophia's Gift. Oh, so cold. Why did that dream have to end? Orville peered out from under his covers into the darkened room. A tiny sliver of dawn had found its way over the top of the mountains and into his bedroom, enough light that Orville knew if he didn't get up now, he would be late for school. He gingerly poked one paw out from under the covers and felt around on his bedside table for the box of matches, quickly pulling them back into his little cocoon of blankets. Then, with a loud groan, he flung off the covers, sat up in bed, and scratched a match on the side of the box. It flared brightly, causing him to squint as he reached over to light his bedside lantern. School. Oh. Thank goodness I only have one more. Orville never finished his thought. He never finished it because his eyes were frozen on something that should not be. Oh no. No, no, no. He glanced furtively around his room, searching for any skulking nocturnal intruders, but found only the darting shadows from his flickering lantern. His insides had turned to ice, but it had nothing to do with the frigid north wind roaring down from the mountains. It did, however, have everything to do with the fat, juicy, glistening orange resting comfortably on his bedside table. Oh no, how did that orange get here? It's not possible. It can't be real. First there were the bird feathers, then the round blue leaves, and now this. I feel sick. I think I'm going to throw up. Wait, maybe it's not really there. It could just be my imagination. Orville reached over and tentatively tapped the orange. It's real, just like the leaves and the feathers. He climbed out of bed, reaching for his clothes, then stopped, his gaze returning to the orange. I wonder if it's tasty. He plucked the orange off the table and proceeded to peel it, the skin practically falling off in his paw. It smells good. He separated one of the juicy segments and popped it into his mouth. Whoa, this is delicious, so sweet. This might be the best orange I've ever had, not to mention the scariest one I've ever had. With a long sigh, he began to get dressed, finishing off the very tasty but terrifying orange along the way. I'd better dispose of this peel on the way to school. We haven't had an orange in Muradan Falls since last summer. I'd have a difficult time explaining to Mum how it got here, especially since I don't have the slightest idea where it came from. He stuffed the orange peel into his pocket and headed downstairs to breakfast. Morning, Mum. Good morning. Are you all set for your last day of school? Are you excited? It's going to be a new world for you now that you've finished your schooling. When do you start working full-time at the book emporium? Oh, it will be a couple of months until the store opens again. Master Marlowe said things are slow now, but business will get back to normal once they finish adding the new rooms. The store will be twice as big as it was before. Master Marlowe said I only need to work a few hours a day until they're done with all the building. Well, it sounds like you'll have a nice break between school and your new work. Better finish your breakfast. Sophia will be here soon. She's quite a lovely young mouse, isn't she? Orville's mum watched closely, gauging his reaction to her comment about Sophia. I guess so. She's just a friend. Oh, I know that. I was just chattering on. I think it's wonderful that she wants to attend the Sumokan Institute of Mechanistic Studies. I'm certain she'll be accepted. She's quite a brilliant mouse. Orville nodded. She's the smartest mouse I know. Orville was not entirely thrilled with Sophia's plan to attend the Sumokan Institute, located 50 miles north of Muradan Falls on the other side of the mountain range. In fact, he didn't like the idea of her going away at all. She was his very best friend, and he didn't have friends to spare. With breakfast finished and the table cleared, Orville threw on his heavy winter coat and grabbed his backpack as he dashed for the front door. Bye, Mum. Bye. Have a wonderful last day of school, and say hello to Sophia for me. Orville's mom grinned as Orville slammed the door behind him. She had become quite fond of Sophia. Orville immediately spotted Sophia trudging through the deep snow toward his house. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Orville. Have any more strange dreams? Orville raced down the stairs toward Sophia. Well, sort of. I dreamed you were from that planet called Quintari, and you made a fat, juicy orange appear in your paw and told me it was a gift from the universe. Much to Orville's surprise, Sophia did not laugh the way she usually did at his odd dreams. Instead, she stared intently at him with a complicated look on her face. Orville had always been extraordinarily good at gauging the feelings of other mice. When he looked at Sophia's face, he saw a combination of surprise and concern with a smidgen of elation, bewilderment, and fear tossed in. He could also see Sophia's brilliant and inventive mind was spinning at top speed. He could almost hear her brain clicking and clacking, and he hadn't even told her the part about the fat, juicy orange appearing on his bedside table. What? Why are you looking at me like that? It was just another one of my crazy dreams.
I know. It's just an odd thing to dream about, that your best friend is from another planet. Did anything else happen in the dream?
Well, there was a giant tree with round blue leaves. Sophia's eyes narrowed slightly.
Really? What did it look like exactly?
Orville was about to reply when he heard the voice. He didn't want to hear it, but nonetheless, there it was, echoing in his mind. You may trust her. She is your eternal friend, and you may trust her always. Orville had heard the voice since he was a mouseling, but was still surprised every time it spoke. He had eventually come to believe that everything the voice said was true, even though sometimes it spoke in riddles or told him stories that didn't make much sense at the time. Later on they usually made sense, though. He had also come to believe that the source of the voice was not another mouse, but came from a deeper part of himself. It was a little like having his conscience talk to him. He thought about what the voice had just said. It was true, of course. Sophia was his best friend, and he knew he could trust her always. He decided to tell her about the orange. If I tell you something, will you promise not to think I'm loopy, and promise not to laugh at me? You're my best friend, and I don't want to have you not like me. Sophia's face softened.
Of course I promise. You're my best friend, too. I would never laugh at you.
Well, the orange you gave me in my dream. When I woke up this morning, it was sitting on my bedside table. Orville couldn't help himself. He had to turn away so he wouldn't see the look on Sophia's face.
What did you say?
There was a real orange sitting on my bedside table this morning. The fat, juicy one you gave me in my dream.
You're certain it was real?
Orville reached into his pocket and pulled out the peel, holding it up for Sophia to see. It's even worse than that. It's happened twice before. Once there were 7 glowbird feathers on my dresser, and once there were 13 of those round blue leaves scattered across my floor.
Creakers. Double creakers.
Sophia took the peel from Orville and held it to her nose, sniffing it. Her eyes were fixed on Orville as she rubbed her furry chin with one paw. Finally, she stopped and pursed her lips, studying Orville's face intently.
Orville Wellington Mouse, you are my best friend in the world. If I share a deep secret with you, will you promise never to tell a soul and not think I'm weird and spooky and not laugh at me or run away?
Huh? Of course I promise all that. Sophia glanced around to see if any mice were watching them, then extended her arm toward Orville. There was a small flash of light and a fat, juicy, glistening orange appeared on her paw. She held the orange out for Orville to take.
Just a little gift from the universe for my best friend in the world. It's called shaping.